Welcome back to another episode of Everyone Has a Story, hosted by Cam and Cody. And today we've got another local guy sitting down with us, Mr. Britten Atkinson. Britten is from right here in Preston, more like Franklin.
Yep.
But he's a husband, a dad, a big sports guy, and he also happens to have one of those careers that I think most of us are curious about, but probably know very, very little about. He works as a mortician.
Yeah. Not every day you run into a mortician.
So,
let alone a 26-year-old mortician.
Yeah, no kidding. But Britten, we appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come out here. We're super excited to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about growing up in Franklin and being a local guy here and things like that.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of the podcast, honestly. I listen to it every week, and I just love the localness of it. You know, and it's really fun just listening to other locals, other people that you know, and it kind of makes you excited to go and listen to their story. So you guys are doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A little bit about me. I grew up in Franklin. My parents both grew up here in Preston area. My dad's from Franklin. My mom grew up out in Winder, just north of Preston. And so, yeah, pretty darn local as it gets. Went to Preston High School. Married my high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like, it's super local. The one thing about me is I live in Smithfield now, which we do wish we could get back a little bit, onto the Idaho side. We always just driving across the border. There's a big difference. I don't know if you guys feel that, or just driving up through like Pocatello, north side of Pocatello. It's just a different feeling than driving anywhere in Utah.
Oh yeah. I've got family in Utah, and every time we go to a family party down there, I'll hang out for like an hour, and I'm like, well, I'm starting to feel a little dark over here. It's time to go back across the border.
So, I mean, we definitely would love to get back onto the Idaho side, but right now it's where I work out down on the south end of Logan. And every now and again, I'm getting called out in the middle of the night, and Smithfield's about as far away as I want to be. It's about 20 minutes away from my work. So, so we're in a great spot right now. But no, I love Preston and just everything about it. Just the small town feel. Obviously, still follow and root for the Preston Indians.
Yeah.
And so,
well, when you're ready, I know a good realtor. So, but no, you were pretty humble with your intro there. We're talking about you being a local guy from Preston, Idaho, but I mentioned in the intro you're a big sports guy.
Big sports guy.
Quarterback for 3 years for Preston.
Yeah, and that the 3 years was a surprise, not gonna lie. And it shouldn't have been that way. My sophomore year, the quarterback that would have been the varsity quarterback decided not to play.
Oh, wow.
So it opened up an opportunity for me. And to be completely honest, the very first game of the year, I wasn't expected to play.
Really?
So I had gone down and played the JV game, played with all the other sophomores there with my grade. And there was an opportunity that, the very next night, the Friday night, we were at home playing against Park City. And there was an opportunity in the second half when the head coach looked at me and said, "Hey, you're going in." And, there is, your stomach just drops. And you're like, you walk over to your buddies and you're like, "Dude, I'm going in," and I'm not ready for this, and I go in the second half, and I think I threw 3 interceptions in a half, and it was like, good night. What, I'm just out here. I've never even played with the other juniors and seniors. I hadn't done any first team reps with them. But like I said, it was an opportunity and took advantage of it. There was a little bit of a quarterback battle for the next couple weeks. But I think it was from week 3 on, I was the starting quarterback.
Wow.
And then
you impressed them.
Junior and senior year. I don't know about impressed. It was like I said, it was just an opportunity that kind of fell into my lap. So,
were you coaching him at the time, Cody?
I think I was there. I was on staff with. I mean, I started coaching you fifth grade.
I actually just saw that picture, and tiny little Cody, just like probably. Let's see, if I were in.
I was 21.
21, yeah.
Because I just got married. After your guys' first game in Century, me and my wife loaded in the car and we left and went on our honeymoon.
Oh, there you go. Priorities. So, go to that football game, that Little League football game.
She started it. We took my brother-in-law, Kyler, to you guys' first meeting. And I remember Stokes stood up and said, hey, we need one more coach. And my wife looked at me and she's like, well, why don't you do it? It's like, hey, if you're good with me doing it, and I jumped in and I've coached football ever since.
Yeah, because I saw that picture and it's funny, we're all so little and Cody, young Cody, was in that picture. And so that was 5th grade and then 6th grade, and you just followed us all.
I just followed you up. Yeah, as soon as you guys hit high school, I jumped on that staff and then stayed there up until last year.
When you were more on the defensive side always, though, and I was always on the offensive side. So
I think I did. I helped with offense your first year in 5th grade and then jumped over the defensive side and stayed there the rest of the time.
Yeah. But Cody is always been one of those fun coaches because he was more our age. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a blast, Cam.
Definitely the fun coach. Like he just was more our age, kind of understood us a little bit more. Yeah, we felt a little bit more relaxed around Cody, rather than the older guys.
Yeah, that's a Cody I didn't know.
Yeah,
because
the young one or the fun one.
No, I'm talking about what you looked like back in the day. Because you being on the fire department now so long until you're negligent and
Fair Week. I know he wasn't going on the call, so I let the beard go.
But
I got fire meeting tomorrow night, so
you better get that.
It's got to go
off. But I've never seen him with his big football beard that he used to have. So
I've got all the pictures out in somewhere in the house, somewhere in the garage office. I've got years after years of football pictures.
Yeah.
So, Cody, back in the day. So besides football, you doing the football, it sounds like you were big time on the Preston basketball team when they went 26-0.
Yeah, my senior year. And granted, too, once again, we just had an amazing team.
Yeah.
We had Braden Parker, who, won Player of the Year and is playing professionally still. I was just barely thinking about it. I'm 26 years old. I can't imagine playing basketball. And to think that he, since high school, has gone to practices and played basketball, hasn't really had a job, a real, what we know as a job, because that is his job.
Yeah.
But
and he's in, is it Belgium right now?
Yeah. And just killing it. Just
doing really well.
Yeah. Big guy of the year and everything. So we had Braden Parker, then we had Derek Wadsworth, who also went and played college basketball and had an incredible, college career up at College of Idaho. So, and then Kyler and Dixon and
you guys had
Chance
a good group.
Hart. We just had a lot of solid pieces that we started playing at 4th grade together and
kept rolling with it. Huh?
Had some good chemistry. And so, that our senior year going in 26-0 was a good highlight for us and something that, we can hold over the newer teams that are still had incredible years.
Heck yeah. No, Preston basketball's always been pretty good.
Not always.
I mean, they normally
recently,
good,
I think your group as sophomores won.
Yep.
Because you're a 3-time state champ, right?
I mean, I was on the bench
but you're still
sophomore. I've got 3 rings.
Not many high school kids can say that. But after your guys' sophomore year is really when it kind of turned for Preston basketball. They were always good and competitive, but you were the first one since the 2000
to go to state. I think there was 2004 won it.
They won it, and you guys were the ones after that. There was that big break from 04 to
and I think
12.
I think Justin Yardley's 2010 group went to state,
but they just didn't win it.
They just didn't win it, and then there was a big drought of 6 years.
Yeah,
and then sophomore year we won it, and then we went 3-peat, and then they got 2nd place at state. Then they won it the next year. Then they got second place. Like, well, and not just our group, but coaching too.
Yeah.
And Coach Jones is phenomenal. He's always had a great staff that, and once you get there and have that experience and pass that down to the next group, it's really big.
Yeah.
Super key.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's, I kind of got into watching Preston because I'm not a local, but, I got into watching Preston this last year, and they went to state. What'd they do? Third or fourth they got this last year?
Like
fourth, because they lost Friday and Saturday.
You were there. Well, that leads into the next thing. Britton was there because now you're coaching basketball.
Yeah. Very, lucky and blessed to be able to coach. I coach the JV team now, and yeah. So last year they went to state, and they probably, they should have won. Like they really should have. They had the team to do it, and maybe they shouldn't have, but they could have. Like there was a legit chance they could have. And it just goes to prove that anything can happen, and there's a lot of moving parts into the state tournament.
For sure,
you never know. I mean, that Thursday night game, they came out on fire, couldn't miss. And then the next night it was a little opposite,
Friday,
and you just never know, So, but yeah, it's hard, when you're expected to win, and the history of Preston basketball is you get to the state championship, and then when you don't get there, and it's such a letdown. It's hard to get up early and go play another game, and
right. So, I mean, you were so heavily in sports in high school. Sounds like you're still heavily in sports.
Yeah.
Most people have a dream to go on and do college ball. You had a dream to be a mortician.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Can you help us understand that?
Yeah. So in high school, I 3-sport athlete, like baseball, basketball, football. Like sports were my life. And I think too, like as a kid, your dream is to be an NBA player, an NFL player, like every kid is. And I think when I got to, junior, senior year, there was a few small colleges that would reach out, and it's like in the middle of Oregon or, up in Idaho. And it's like, how bad do you really want? And to be completely honest, I had a pretty serious girlfriend all through high school, who is now my wonderful, beautiful wife.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was ever in my cards to go play college, as far as I was kind of like, then she's got to come with me. And she's not. She's, going to school. And so I think, and I also realized that I'm not going to the NBA. I'm not going to the NFL. I mean, I could go maybe play D2, junior college if I absolutely wanted to. And that would even be a stretch, to be completely honest. So I just thought, let's just get on with my career. Let's move on in life. I already know what I want to do, which I was super fortunate at the time, is to be a mortician. And I bet you there's not very many 18-year-olds who are like, I'm going to go be a mortician,
Yeah.
So, but how that happened was, growing up, I played a lot of sports with the Smaleys. And, I just knew their dad and knew, Jordan Webb just through going, just being a local, and so I was like, I'm going to do my senior project and go, job shadow over there.
Yeah.
Part of it is a little curiosity of like, oh, this is kind of crazy, and they're really cool guys, like, why not? They got a cool lifestyle. Like, let's go do it, and they're very respected. So let's just go job shadow, see what happens. So I did my senior project on it, and then kind of turned into a part-time job opportunity to where they would call me and say, hey, we need help on Saturday. You want to come? And really enjoyed it. And I'm a pretty social guy. My wife gets a little bothered sometimes when we go to the fair or to the rodeo because she's like, you got to say hi to every single person. She's like, sometimes I look the other way so I don't have to see. And I think everyone does that, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
But not me. I'm like, everyone's kind of looking away and I'm like waiting for them to look so I can at least, like, hey, how's it going?
For sure.
And I totally understand, like, no one likes that small, what you been up to? But for me, I'm like, I know you.
Yeah.
You know me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why not just say, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I've always been that way. And if I can engage in a conversation with you, I'm probably going to engage a little bit in a conversation.
Yeah.
So at that time, it was like I was working a funeral or a viewing where there's these people coming in that and it's just, hey, how's it going? And I'm in the high school, so they're like, that was a crazy game the other night, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, of the community. And I realize it now. I didn't realize it at the time, but you really are helping, a family kind of during those hard times. Just trying to make everything run as smoothly and as perfectly as possible. And so that's where I'm drawn to it. Just that reward. I mean, I know I've heard you talk about like your real estate. It's rewarding helping families get into a home that they love, or getting, a farmer the tub, right? That just helps their cows, and they're like, oh, dude, this is so awesome, kind of similar feeling, right? Except it's, everything went perfect.
Yeah.
It was a positive experience. So that's where I'm drawn into it. So
that's pretty awesome.
But
what, I don't know. I think about it, and I think I'd be an emotional wreck. Like, how do you, I mean, jumping right in the depths of it, but like, how do you, what's the right question to ask that?
I mean, I get asked, how do you do it? Like, how do you,
because I mean, you're going from little kids to lifelong grandparents, parents, brothers, sisters, friends. I mean, and me, I mean, I think about that stuff. I don't know if I could stand there with a smile on my face and greet everybody without bawling my eyes out, so.
Yeah. And I remember too, young Casey. Right. He kind of mentioned this too. He's like, how do you, they always say, how do you do it? He just said, I don't know. You just do it. For me, and I do agree with that. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but for me, like, I am very confident in, like that I can make this a good situation, like a positive situation. So for example, we're, it could be, someone that lost a baby. It could be a teenager who, very unexpectedly passed, or it could be 99-year-old grandma who we are, it's bittersweet because it's like, we don't want her to suffer anymore. We just want her to go. In every situation, like, it's my job, because no one wants to be at the funeral home. No one wants to be there, right? It'd be the last place you'd want to choose to go to. But regardless, you have to go. So if you're going to be there, let's make it a positive experience. Let's make it an experience that's like, we did everything we could, and we really honored our loved one. So for me, I just feel very fortunate that I can handle my emotions enough to help families through that.
I can't handle mine.
That's not a job for you, Cam.
Like I just remember there was one time I was working with a family who, lost a very young child, and it was a crazy week of like very unexpected, experiences or deaths. And I was emotionally drained. And by the end of like the arrangement with the family, I remember I'd helped them write the obituary, and we were just I was reading it out loud. Just as we were, just kind of finishing up, just making sure everything sounded right. And I like halfway through, I just like broke down, and I'm just like in puddles, and I just like take a break, and then I look at him and I'm like, I am so sorry. I am like the one that should be the strong one, and like here I am. But like that's how emotionally tied you can get to these families, because I mean you get to know them and you get to see them in their worst pain, and your heart just goes out to them. It's like, if I could do anything to take this away, I would. But so I don't know. That's kind of very I don't know if I really hit your question there,
No,
but
you did. I mean, that's just what I think about. And then, like, especially if it's ever somebody that, like, personally,
Yeah.
have you dealt with that yet?
Yeah. And I think I'm just like a little bit psycho because, like for me, it's the honor of like, no one is, for example, my aunt passed away. She had cancer and so she passed away. And in my mind, like, I'm going to do the embalming. I'm going to meet with my family. I'm going to run everything because no one is going to care nearly as much as I am because it's my aunt, right? No one's going to put in a little extra time here and there more than I would.
Yeah.
So like for me, like I'm going to do it because a lot of it is my pride too. Like I take a lot of pride in my work, and I want, everything to run smoothly. I want her to look as good as possible as far as like the embalming and cosmetics and all that go. So yeah, I think I have a very different perspective than probably everyone else does because it's like, I can't imagine seeing my loved one, being embalmed,
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just so deep into it that it's like, no one would do nearly as good and maybe they not as good, but no one is going to care as much as I'm going to on this.
No, that's understandable. I get that. I get that for sure. So like with like the schooling and stuff, part of the mortician things. I mean, how long of school did that take? How long?
So we'll kind of come back a little bit. So after high school, I decided to just go on a mission, not pursue any college sports opportunities. And that was the other thing too, is I knew I wanted to serve a mission. So, and some of these smaller schools, they don't understand. If I'm going to BYU, Utah State, they have a little bit more understanding, but a team up in Oregon, they're like, you're going to be gone for 2 years. Nah, we don't need you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
you went somewhere far, right?
I went to Mexico City.
Okay. Not as far as what I was thinking. I was thinking like in some strange.
And that, I mean, I've got a lot of stories from there that, we could be here all night. But Mexico City was wonderful, loved the people, loved the food, loved the work and, my mission experience there. Really, really amazing. Very scary. I mean, we had moments where like we had one time we were in church, like in sacrament meeting. Craziest thing. It was in Mexico. Fast and testimony meeting is a little different. The bishop gets up, bears his testimony, and then he says, all right, turn the time over to the congregation. And like 20 people get up.
Oh, really?
And they go up and they sit in line up on the stand. And they're 3 or 4 minutes, they share their testimony and then they go sit down. So it's not so much your 15-minute story, which sometimes we see here. It's very different.
Yeah.
But and it was like every Sunday in every different area that you were in, it was about the same. Well, this Sunday, like 4 people got up and then there was this long pause and then like 2 people would get up. And the bishop, it was so uncomfortable. It was so foreign to him. And so finally there was another long stretch and we'd only been in sacrament meeting for 30 minutes. And he just gets up and he says, the Spirit's let me know that we just need to move into the next classes. If no one's going to stand up and bear testimony, let's just get into the next class, which you never ever see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like here, you can sit awkwardly for 5 minutes, and it's like, man, finally someone gets up. I just wanted to break the silence, So anyway, so he gets up and he says, sorry, like, let's just go into our other classes. So we've got a whole family of investigators, right? So it's like their first time at church. And so I'm walking them back through the hallway to meet the bishop. And then all of a sudden, the bishop's son comes running up, ladrones, which is like robbers. So 3 people came into the church. 3 people guarded the doors outside of the church with guns. And they they come running. And luckily, we were at the back, and so everyone says go into the rooms.
Mhm.
So we get shoved into like this little closet, and I'm training. So I have this kid from Peru. It's like his 4th week in Mexico.
Oh shoot!
And all of a sudden we hear, don't shut the doors or else we're going to start blasting, And in my mind, I'm like, we're dead. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm used to the United States where people come in with guns and they start shooting.
Yeah.
And so I look at my companion. I was like, dude, we're, if we go, like, we're going. And he's like, he looked at me. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I was like, I'm not. And we're just like shaking. So anyway, they ended up leaving. They went in and like the young adults, so like the teenage group, they were up towards the front and they went in and stole a bunch of iPhones and a bunch of money. And then they like went into the primary room and they're like flashing the guns. We know the primary has the tithing, give us the tithing money, so they knew a little bit was going on. One of the ward members was he was like a bodyguard for, a government official, and he had his gun and he had went to pull it and his wife said no. And he's like, the robber was shaking and he's like, they didn't want to kill anyone. They were just in it for the money. They just wanted the phones. And anyway, they said, come out. They've left. They hopped on mopeds and drove away. And so, it just crazy stuff.
That's freaking
crazy
sketchy
stuff that happens. My companion and I left our bags in the chapel, and they had gone in, like ripped my scriptures out of my bag and had gone through and looked for stuff. Luckily, my camera, which had all my pictures, was in there, but they didn't find it. It was in a little pocket. But my companion, he was only 4 weeks in. He had all brand new stuff. So they just took that bag and took everything that was in it. Mine was like all worn out and they didn't want it. So I felt bad for him. He lost a lot of valuable stuff. The funny part about the story, though, is in Mexico, they do a lot of like street cells. And like 2 months later, some missionaries were walking through the street cells and they see this, big, nice set of scriptures, and it says Elder Jorge on there. So they had to buy the scriptures back.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Anyway, crazy stories, but I absolutely loved it. We were protected and really enjoyed Mexico. I'd love to go back and see some of those people. But anyway, went on my mission, came home, actually was only out for about 16 months, and then COVID hit. And they just sent everyone home. It was so foreign, and they were just, anyone who was outside the United States just got sent home and reassigned to the States. So when I got home, I talked to the stake president. I was like, look, I've been in Mexico, in the streets, been there for over a year. I know the language. I've had a great mission experience. I mean, if you are inspired to, release me, I am more than fine to not go sit in an apartment somewhere in the United States. And they said, you know what? I agree with that. You're good. So kind of got out of my mission. It was about 16 months, something like that. And I came home in March. I'd worked all through high school out at Randy Hobbs' sod farm.
Oh, yeah.
So I just jumped right back into that for the summer and worked out there, and then a job opportunity opened up. It was actually Webb Funeral Home here. They referred me down to a place in Logan that had just opened up. And so I went down there, started part-time, and eventually it turned into a full-time opportunity. They helped pay for my school and helped me get through all that. And so the schooling, that was a long way to get to your question. Schooling it's 2 years of a mortuary science course, it's like an associate degree. And then it's 2 years internship, so like on the job experience. And so I just stacked them. and it was working full-time, school full-time, which was crazy.
Burnt you out.
Yeah.
Were you married at this time?
We were married.
School?
Yep, we were married, and it was a crazy year. She was still going to school, so it was a tough time, but we got through it. I think everyone has those stories of like you just push through, like school and work and trying to make it work. So
where do you go to school for that? Like Utah State?
Yeah,
who has those programs?
So you can do a lot of online courses, but they jack up the prices because there's not a lot of in-person. So Salt Lake Community College was the closest in-person.
Yeah.
So I would drive down to Salt Lake two days a week was what it was. And then spend all day in class and then work the 5 other days. So yeah, but it was good. We got through it and it was great to be licensed. So it's 2 years of pretty much get through that. And then there's 2 like national board exams that you have to pass to become fully licensed. So.
Dang. So you didn't start school until you were back and in the job already. And then they're like, hey, we're going to send you to school.
Yeah.
Is that common in that profession?
Pretty common. And it's kind of a nice little, there's a lot of people that think, well, I want to be a mortician. They get into it and they're like, I don't want to do this. So that internship that, you stack, I actually started that before I even went to school.
Oh, okay.
So, and what that does is it allows you to pretty much do everything that a mortician does, but you're just under a licensed mortician. So, I was embalming, like witnessing and helping with embalming before I even went to school.
Wow.
Through that. And then, but it was nice because I could go and see if I could handle it and if I really enjoyed it, and then worked a lot of funerals and really kind of got deep into it before I knew I wanted to spend the next 2 years going to school and not waste my time and money.
So that's a cool program if you can intern it and be able to go and actually see like in depth everything you're going to be doing, because it's not an easy job that you do there, buddy. It
is challenging. And like I mentioned before, I'm just so grateful that I can handle it because I really do enjoy my job. Like, and so many people, how do you work with dead bodies, and to be completely honest, like, yeah, that is part of it, but it's only like 15-20% of my time. The other 80% is with the family. We're with the family, and then we're at the viewing, and then we're at the funeral, and hundreds of people come to those, and you're reconnecting and kind of making connections every day with new people. And so it is, like I said, it is a social job more so than like I said, the body portion of it. Yeah, it is. It's an important part because you want the person to look like themselves, which is hard to do. And just because the person is left, the spirit is left. Like, that's who we are. This is just a shell.
Yeah.
And so, the smiles and the warmth and everything like that comes from the spirit.
Yeah.
And that's your personality. So when you have just the shell, it's important to see it and get closure.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah.
So, like, with you being a mortician for, you've been, what is it, 4 or 5? So you're 26, so what, 4 or 5 years now?
Started in November of 2020. So
okay, so 6 years. So, what are so far some of the lessons that, like, maybe you brought to light, something you've learned with your job? And I'm sure there's probably been a lot of things you've thought about with that job, man.
To be completely honest, and I do think about this a lot, listening, because I know obviously you've voiced your, like, the things, right? And I'm that way too. And I don't think it's bad to want the nice things. Like, I want it just because it's nice to have. Like, I don't care what other people think, but it's just nice to go hop in a new truck. Like, my brother has a pretty nice truck, and I was like, man, if I could have this, like, that'd be nice,
Yeah.
But every funeral, I can tell you this, in every obituary that I read, it never once says he drove a 2027 Chevy, truck. It's always, He was a good guy. You know, he was always there for our family. He, you know, gave his time. He, you know what I mean? And really, like, when you listen to, you know, Life Sketch and talks by families, the biggest thing, like the biggest takeaway is like time. Time, memories, you know, like that's what people, like, that's what you remember. And that's been really humbling for me, because I do work in a job where it does take a lot of my time. And then I really enjoy coaching, and that also takes a lot of my time. So I definitely need to practice what I preach. But it's, you know, the memories. And that's like, my wife is amazing, and she is big on this, like creating, you know, memories. And for us, rather than, you know, buying a toy, we would much rather go on a vacation. And like, that's just who we are. Like, we'd rather go have an experience, you know, rather than, and granted too, like, you can buy a 4-wheeler and boat and different things like that. And those are great experiences. But when we save up money, like, we're not going to buy a toy. We're going on a trip. Yeah. We're going to go experience something. And, which I'm grateful that, you know, that's what she likes to do, because, and she has brought that out of me, you know, because I grew up, you know, our vacation was, we were going to Yellowstone or maybe Disneyland. I remember one of the biggest trips we ever went on was we went to Hawaii, like, which was super amazing, right? But my wife's family, like, they are trip people. And so they kind of got me into that of like, I really enjoy going and just relaxing or seeing something new. So
that's the hardest thing for me, you know, because obviously you've seen what I said yesterday, but like, because we love camping. And I actually just sold my camper today.
For the second time?
For the second time. You quit bullying me. But sold it, and then I'm actually going to look at another one tomorrow. But then I'm like sitting here, and I wanted to talk to my wife tonight too, because like, when we go camping and we're up in the mountains and it's doing the experience and away from people and away from cell service, like, it's the life. But my wife is also like a trip gal too. And, you know, there's another part of me. It's like, like, maybe instead of buying that another, you know, smaller camper or whatever, maybe we go on a trip or go do something. It's like, it's hard to decide which route to go.
I think in today's life, it's hard to do both.
Exactly.
You know, and it's really hard to do both.
It's almost one or the other.
And Cody, you're not much of a trip guy, right? Or are you?
No, I'm not. I didn't go on them. Like, everybody talks about these family vacations. Growing up on a dairy farm, like, we worked. We didn't have a lot of vacations. Sports was our getaway.
Right.
Growing up, you know, we'd go to the weekend to play sports or whatever. I'm not a big camper.
You didn't even give that one a shot.
See, camping is great once you get there. It's just the getting there.
But camping is the dad. Like, you're the guy that pulls the trailer, unhooks the trailer, sets the trailer,
levels it,
cooks the dinner, wife and kid are over there playing. And she's like, well, why are you having fun? Because I got 15 things to do first. And then the guy that has to pack everything up and load it and haul it out.
Wind starts and the awning gets blown off.
And that's not as fun as the dad as it was, you know, as a kid.
Yeah, that's the truth though, honestly. And especially when you have OCD like I do. And it's like, okay, I got to have everything. When we put everything in the camper, it's not just throw the bags.
It's got to be the exact same way.
It's got to put, don't pack a bag. Just take your clothes out and put them in the little drawers and stuff. When we get home, everything comes back out. We got to detail it. We got to go wash it. We got to go tuck it back away. So I freaking drag it out. But once we're up there, it's just the bliss, you know. But then there's the other part of me, you know, that I've been thinking lately of, you know, like, mountains are great. I love the mountains, but, you know, I'm kind of like you. Like, I'd like to go start seeing more things.
Those people at the Marriott, they do a great job. My room's clean when I come back in. There's food there. They do. I don't want to take that away from somebody else. You know, they're feeding their family.
You know what?
So I go to a hotel. They feed their family with it.
Yeah.
Right. See, and the mountains are great. Like, we love the mountains, but the beach is pretty darn nice too. And that's my wife. She is a beach girl. Like,
yeah, my wife too, and I hate the beach. I hate the beach.
See, and I don't mind just going and rotting just in the sun. You know, like that's.
I love the beach for like an hour, but my wife's like an all-dayer from sun up to sundown. You don't leave the beach, and I'm like such a fidgety, antsy person. I'm like, okay, we got to have a list of stuff to do. We got to go rent and ride scooters. We got to go try this place to eat. We got to go rope swinging. We got to go,
There's very few things worse than the beach. Very few.
See,
that
and
is a small list.
I'm not that way. I'm more of like, and I'm not the OCD put it in, like, I'm a little bit more of just, you know what, let's get it in and then we'll take care of it later. But yeah, like for me, I'd much rather like, and I mean, there's good and bad. Like I can see the good in both, but like for me, it's like if I'm going to go on a vacation, sometimes being on vacation is just as tiring as being at work, you know, because it's go, 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 go. Whereas, you know, we really enjoy cruising because
I love cruising.
There's, you know, a day at sea where it's just, you're just relaxing and you're just taking time, you know, and then you get to go see a new place and go do something fun. And then you're coming back and you're relaxing. But, my wife and I, we just recently had our baby, and before we went to Hawaii is like our last, like, okay, this is us, you know, for, you know, the rest of our lives, really. But we went to Hawaii and it was just so nice because we didn't go with any plans. Yeah. We had a list of things that we wanted to go do, but it wasn't like we had to. So every morning we woke up and it was like, oh, let's go to this side of the island. And then, oh, that was really cool. We want to come back and eat there, you know, which was amazing. It was like, it was a vacation. Like it was relaxing, come home. And that's the cool thing about my job is I come home from a vacation and I'm like, I'm ready to get back to work. You know, I'm ready to go back and get back into it, meet with families. And I was just talking to someone, can't remember. And they were like, I just was hating to come home because I didn't want to have to go to work. And I'm like, dude, I'm so blessed because I have a job where it's like, I kind of look forward to getting back into it. And then you go for a couple months, you're like, all right, I got to get the heck out of here. I got to get away.
And I think that's super important though, with the whole time thing of, you know, I'm still trying to find that balance. So is everybody, I'm sure. But like, you got to find that balance of like, instead of just working your whole life, like you got to find that balance of work and play and enjoyment because it's just too short. You just never know.
And that's my big thing. My biggest thing is you just never know. Like, and I see that every day. Just like the most random, like I totally believe in when it's your turn to go, like, for the most random, like it's your turn to go. It's going to happen, you know? And I see way too often people that, you know, their life is cut short. And so, and I know it's not the best motto, but I always tell my wife, like, well, money will always come back, you know, like, let's go. Like when we were going to Hawaii, we're like, oh man, but it's, you know, we're going to have a baby. We got to have money for this, but it's like, we're never going to have this opportunity again. So money will always come back. You always find a way to figure it out. But yeah, take that trip with your family and take, you know, that time with your family and enjoy it and then don't try not to be, even though it's hard, try not to be, I mean, I fall into it all the time, the grump of the trip because, you know, it's like, you know, you look back and like the memories, like the experiences, that's what people remember, you know? So
I'm learning that very slowly because, you know, we all have a lot of stuff piled on our plates between Cody and his sports and work and fire and fair. And
I don't know how you guys keep up. I don't. I have, you know, half the things that are going on that you guys are going on, like you have going on. I'm like, I don't know how they keep up with everything.
I don't know if we really do.
Yeah. Just fake it till you make it. Just keep going.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I agree with that lesson. That's just something, I don't know why, but it's just recently come into my life of just, you've got to change something because you chasing a dream and Somebody was talking to me the other day. I was talking to him. Maybe Cody said it to me before, but I can think of this one gentleman that I was conversating with, and he's like, think back to that 10-year-old, 12-year-old, even 16-year-old Cam, and have him look at where you're at now. Like, have you succeeded? Are you at where that 16-year-old Cam would have wanted to be? And I've done it, and you got to quit like extending your dreams and making life so busy.
Yeah. And I think it's a hard realization.
Yeah.
And I love this video. I always watched that video one time and it stuck with me. And, the guy goes, if I gave you $10 million, like, would you take it? So Cody, would you take it? Like, no strings attached, would you take it?
Absolutely.
And what would you do with it?
Honestly, a lot of it would go back to something else.
Yeah. You're going to...
Like the things I'm passionate about, fair, football. I mean, I'd take care of myself, my family.
For sure.
But a lot of it, especially we just came off a fair week, there's a lot of things you could improve over there.
Yeah.
And I would take a bunch of that and put it right back into that.
Yeah, for sure.
So everybody else has that experience.
For sure. Like, you're going to take that money, you're going to do it. But then it's like, okay, you can have that $10 million and you can choose exactly where it goes. But the cost of it is you're not going to wake up tomorrow. Would you take it? And it's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to take it for that. So it's like, so your life is worth more than, that money because it's like, I want to be here and I want to experience these things. I don't want to leave my family. Like, so money's great. Obviously we need money, but like, especially in today, you know what I mean? Like everything is expensive.
Yeah.
But,
money's not happiness in my
right. But
I mean,
but it's like,
I can eat mac and cheese every night if I know my kid's having fun.
Dude, I love mac and cheese, but it's got to be like fresh off the pot. Like,
I can't sit there for more.
I can't be sitting there for a minute, but when it's fresh off the pot, oh dang. I'm a sucker.
And I also think too, just like this, the simpleness of life. Think of when you were a 10-year-old and you would eat that mac and cheese, at any time of the day. You put hot dogs in it and it's like ketchup and, it's like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And, as you get older, life changes a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, it's crazy how life changes. So I want to bring up an experience you recently had.
Yeah.
I asked you if there's nothing we could talk about, but
whatever.
But you guys recently just had your newborn baby. You're now a dad.
Yeah.
Cambry's a mom.
Yeah. She's a great mom too.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Your wife's a sweetheart.
For sure.
But baby came a little early. Yeah, it was unexpected, kind of a roller coaster there for you guys. It was a little whirlwind.
It's been kind of a little bit of a crazy, like, year to 2 years. So, my wife, so so she's a school teacher up here. She teaches at Preston, first grade.
Bless her heart.
I know.
I got gonna be second grader. And I love him and his friends and everything, but man, to do that every day, there's a special place for teachers.
Everyone's always like, I don't know how you do your job. And I look at her and say, I don't know how anyone does her job. And she's like, I wish so badly you could come and spend one day in my classroom. You wouldn't last half a day. And I was like, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, there's probably a special place for teachers.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as far, like, we went into it, we're like, we want to start having kids, We had been married for like 4 years, 5 years, whatever. And we were wanting to time it. Granted, you can't, but we wanted to time it ideally to where she would have her baby sometime in like March. She could take her maternity leave until summer, and then she'd have another 3 months. Yeah. So it's like 6 solid months. Yeah. And then she could decide if she wanted to go back to next year. So obviously started trying. Unsuccessful. Like, what the heck is going on? And then finally, after, she started taking like a pill to help, which I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but there's a few people that are familiar with that. So she ended up getting pregnant, and she was about 8 weeks pregnant. And then all of a sudden, I'm working a funeral. And we're in the part where it's like the family's in saying their final goodbyes right before we close the casket. It's like a super emotional, spiritual time. And my phone is just ringing and ringing. And I'm like, oh man, it's kind of weird. And this particular family, they had some Native American rituals. And so it's just going on and on and on. And my phone is just ringing and ringing. And finally I look at it, it's like my wife. So we close the casket, we bring it into the chapel. I tell the person I'm working with, I say, hey, you take care of everything for a minute, make sure everything's running. I got to go take a phone call. So I call my wife and she's like in tears. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. Well, it turns out she actually was having like a miscarriage at 8 weeks. So that was like super just like deflating because we hadn't told anyone.
Yeah.
And so we were like on this high, but then all of a sudden now miscarriage. And she, just the hormones of everything, like my heart went out just because, it's such a roller coaster of, and I think we were both feeling it of like, what's wrong? What's wrong with us?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we get pregnant? And then when the miscarriage happened, you're like,
it's even more
what's
defeating.
even more? Yeah, it's even more defeating. Right. So, and then it was like about a half year, almost a year later, we got pregnant. She got pregnant again. And it was like, and I think you've mentioned this, just the anxiety of that next pregnant. There's already a lot of anxiety in pregnancy, right? And then
it just changes your mindset.
Yeah. And then you're like, you get to that 8-week mark and you're like, okay,
we're going to make
we
it.
made it further.
Yeah.
And then you're just like so grateful for every day that comes. And then she obviously got to like the 20 week and everything is looking good. And she was 31 weeks and I think 4 days. So about 31 and a half. And she woke up at like 1 a.m. with like a bad side ache. And I got woken up to like aggressive, like, why aren't you waking up? Why don't you know that I'm in pain? Right? Like, how are you just sleeping? But she was in like such bad pain.
Wow.
And like had gone downstairs, tried to stretch out. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Like something's happening. I think she just kept saying, cause he was breech. So his head was up. So she's like, I think he's moving and he's like on a weird nerve or something. She's like, I think if I take a bath, I'll be fine. So at 2 a.m, I go start the bath. And then she's like, we just need to go in. So we went into Logan Hospital and, after a couple tests, they're like, you are having contractions every 2 minutes. Like you're going into labor. Like there's a pretty good chance you're having this baby.
Holy crap.
And so it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like sleeping on the couch and waking up and she's asleep and then waking up because they're coming in testing and they're giving her all this medication to try to slow the contractions down. Nothing is happening. And so this was a Friday night and I've got this big funeral service on Saturday for a younger, more prominent guy. And I'm like, all right, I just have to leave the hospital by like 7 o'clock and I'll be able to still make it home, shower. I can go to work. And it's like 3 a.m. So we got like 4 hours. We're fine. And I thought, we're going to call her mom. Her mom's going to come down, and she was like, I think you'll still be able to go to your funeral. Like, she's like totally fine. Like, I'm not feeling anything anymore. So
let's just point out how strong these women are.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, this is like our mindset the whole time. We're like, all right, we're just going to go home here in the morning.
Yeah.
You're going to go to work. Like, everything's going to be fine. And then I remember like the OBGYN that was on call walks in and she goes, all right, so we're actually going to live flight you to Ogden Regional Hospital. And I kind of look over and she looks at me, she goes, you said life flight? And she's like, yeah. So then I'm like making calls. I'm like, hey, I'm not coming to work. Like, you're going to have to figure it out.
What?
And we're both like, can't he just drive me?
Yeah.
Like, we're fine. She's like, look, we can only take care of babies after 32 weeks. You're 31 weeks and 4 days. they have a better NICU. You're going to go down there. There's a good chance you're going to have the baby. So we just want you to get down there as soon as possible, because if you by chance have the baby in the ambulance or in the car, who knows what's going to happen to the baby. So they're like, we're going to call the life flight. They're going to be here in a couple hours, and you'll just go down there and they'll take care of you down there. So we're like, okay. And at this point, she looks in and she goes, you better call my mom, because we knew that she was going to be a nervous wreck. You know, as 2 a.m, she can't do anything. So we're like, it was like 6, I think, at this time. And so we called them and they came down. And so they ended up, the life flight nurses came in and they were all like jolly and happy.
Those stinking life flight nurses are the happiest people you meet.
And they're like, this will be fun. We don't usually get someone that we can talk to. And so we took her out. They put her in life flight, and away they go.
So you didn't get a ride with her?
I didn't get a ride. There was no room. There was literally room for her, the pilot, and the 2 nurses, and there wasn't any other room. So then they took her down. I ran.
You're an emotional wreck.
Yeah, I ran. Well, to be completely honest, I wasn't.
That's crazy, dude.
Only because, like, I was nervous, but we honestly felt like the baby's not coming.
Yeah.
We honestly were in this mindset of, they're going to slow things down. We're going to go home. And she was that way too. Like, and they said, everyone asked, like, were you nervous on the life flight? And she's like, she had magnesium, which made her super hot. She's like, I was just so hot. All I cared about was my fan. And she's like, it was just so hot.
Yeah.
And like, she's like, I just remember the nurses were like, if you look to your right, there's the Logan Temple, and we're coming up on Ridgeline High School. And there's the football field. Like, they were like making it fun. And she was just like, I'm just hot. Just please stop talking. You know, but and she would never say that. She's way too nice, but I know that's what she was probably thinking. Anyway, so I ran home. My in-laws drove down. Cambry got there in like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
like buzzed down there. My in-laws ran down. I ran home, packed a bag, because we were like, we don't know how long we're gonna be here. So I just grabbed a bunch of clothes, and they were giving her medication. And let's see, we got there on a Sunday. No, it was a Saturday. We got there on a Saturday, and they'd give her that magnesium to slow everything down. They'd given her shots to help our baby's lungs.
Yeah.
So all this medication that's like trying to help in the situation. And so they slowed everything down Saturday, but they had to take her off the magnesium because she can only have it for so long. So then we went to bed. They had these monitors monitoring the heart rate and the contractions. She couldn't even feel the contractions, which I'm like, so tough, right? Like, and
again,
she's like,
freaking women, man.
She's like, I can't feel them. So they would come in like, you're contracting every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes. She's like, I can't feel them. So she was glad to have that. So they took the magnesium off. She went to bed that night, and the very next morning, like, everything had sped up again through the night. So the Sunday morning, they came in at like 5 a.m. They said, you're contracting every couple minutes. You're going to have this baby today, probably. And so we're like, all right, here we go. But they started her on the magnesium again, slowed her way down. And then Sunday night comes around, and the nurse comes in and she goes, yeah, if you keep at this rate, we'll probably monitor you tomorrow, and you'll probably go home tomorrow night. And we're like, sounds good.
Jeez.
And then she goes, if you want to just get a good night's rest, you can take the monitors off tonight. And she's like, oh, okay. And just kind of like, and she's like, but I'd really like to take a shower. Can I go take a shower? And they're like, yeah, for sure. They came in, like, wrapped up her IVs. And then she left. And my wife, Cambry, looks over and she goes, I don't feel comfortable taking these monitors off. Like, I just want him on, because you could hear the heartbeat. And she's like, I just want to hear his heartbeat, just know he's okay. And she's like, and I don't know when I'm contracting, so I want them to see that. And the last thing is, I sped up last night to where they thought I was having the baby.
Yeah.
Who you never, probably going to happen again.
Oh, yeah.
So she goes and takes a shower. She comes back. The nurse comes in, and my wife goes, you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I just want to have the monitors on. And she's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, might as well. Like, it just brings me peace. She's like, okay. And so she puts the monitors on and then sleeps through the night. Monday morning comes around and the nurse comes in at 8:30, just regular, just check in, give her medication, see how everything's going. And, she just said, how's everything going? And she's like, oh, I'm good. I just need to run to the restroom. So my wife gets up, goes to the bathroom, takes the monitors off, comes back, and the nurse goes, do you want to put them back on? She's like, yeah, I'll just put them on. So as she's putting them on, she's like kind of she goes, you know what, let's have you turn over to the side. And it's 8:30 in the morning. We're just waking up, and I'm just kind of like, I know she's in the room, but I'm not like fully. Tired, I'm just like kind of like vaguely listening. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Let's have you turn over to the other side. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird too. And then all of a sudden you can hear it in her voice. She goes, get on your hands and knees right now. So that's when I kind of like sit up, and then she gets on her microphone. She says, we need help, something along those lines. All of a sudden, like 4 nurses come running in, and I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. And they're like checking her cervix, checking all this, and then all of a sudden the doctor runs in. And I, as they're like checking her and checking things, I just kind of subconsciously think, I need to go get my contacts in. So I run in the bathroom, put my contacts in so I can see. And then when I come back, one of the nurses goes, put these on. And you might want to get your shoes on. I think we're going to have to go. So they hand me like the scrubs, and I'm like putting them on. And then the doctor looks at my wife and says, your baby's heart rate has just dropped. We need to take you in for an emergency C-section. We need to get him here right now because you're not, she hadn't dilated enough to have him naturally. She's like, we need to take you in. And so I'm getting the stuff on. I grab my phone and I look at my phone, and at this point it was like 8:17. And I had a text from my boss, that says, hey, how are things going this morning? And so I dumped that in my pocket. And they're like rolling. So they grabbed the bed and they're like pushing it, slamming it up against like the wall as we go out the door. And it's like stereotypical movie where it's like 5 nurses, carrying the bed, just running down the hall. I'm like trailing, like trying to get the little booties all over my shoes. Just like, what in the world is going on? And at that point, that's when like the emotions of like kind of what you're mentioning with the life light. That's when I was like, holy smokes. Yeah. So they take us into the operating room, and you go into the room, and then there's the operating room to the right and then the one to the left. They open up the doors to the ones on the left. They get her over onto the table, and they have her arms out, and then they close the doors. They say, you have to stay right here. And they close the doors. And I'm like, at that point, I just prayed. I'm just like, please don't take my wife and don't take my baby. I cannot do this, right? And I'm like, so praying. And I even took out my phone because I knew my in-laws were coming. They had stayed the night at a hotel. I knew they were coming at 8:30, or they were coming at 9 in the morning. And I had a message written up to my mother-in-law that said, baby's heart rate dropped, emergency C-section, please pray. And I was this close to sending it, and I knew I was going to send everyone through like the emotions. And I thought, do I send it? Do I not? Anyway, there's a doctor that walks in, and I say, hey, my mother-in-law, she's going to freak out, but is this pretty serious? Should I send this? And he's like, no, don't send it yet. Everything's going to be okay. And before that, I had been looking, there was like a little window, and I was just watching through the window. And they like were getting like the scalpel out to start making the incision. And I was just kind of watching. That's when the doctor walked in. And he's like, you know what? You come with me. And he took me from the operating at the hospital. The NICU is connected to the operating room for situations like this. And so he walked me over to the bedside of where we would be. He's like, these ladies will take great care of you. And so we left the room at 8:17, and they got my wife in there, put her under anesthesia. She was, asleep, fully asleep, and he was born at 8:31.
Dang.
So in the matter of like 15 minutes, like boom, 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 and they bring this baby in, and he's just screaming.
Really?
Just like, screaming as a regular newborn. And I just remember at that time, I was like, that's my kid. You know what I mean? Of like, oh, smokes, that's my kid, And they're like wiping him down and doing all the measurements and everything. And the nurse looks at me and she goes, do you want to hold him? And I'm like, can I?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I should probably wash my hands. Like, she's like, oh, just hand sanitizer. So I'm like, don't have hand sanitizer. And then I'm like so awkward. I'm just like holding him, like, and he's crying and everything. And then they ended up doing their thing of, getting an IV into him, making sure his lungs were all right. All the other stuff, putting a diaper on him, getting him into this cubicle, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I just sat there and just like stared at him, and my wife, they took her into post anesthesia care, and they're like, you can't go in there. And I just kept saying like, is she ready? Like, is she okay? And they're like, she's doing great, but you can't go in there. And it took like 2 hours before. 2 hours? Yeah, an hour and a half, 2 hours before they're like, and finally I say, is my wife doing all right? And they're like, yeah. You know what? She just got back in her room. You can go see her now. So I was like, okay, finally.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
So I walk in, and she had been freezing, something to do with the anesthesia. And so she's got like 15 blankets all over and like one wrapped around her. So all I can see is like her face. And I walk in, and she's like still coming out of it. I'm like, we have a baby, and like I take my phone. I'm like, do you want to see him? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like feeding her graham crackers. She's like, nice. And I'm like, why don't you want to see him? Like, I'm like in my own, I'm like, you just did this. You've done this for the past 7 months, and you just did this. Like, what? And that was the very immature, like, like thinking, and but she's like, he's so beautiful, blah blah. And then she's like, I'm just really tired, and we'll just kind of fall asleep. Anyway, and then it took her a couple of hours to kind of get back to where she could feel her legs, and then just an all-star. She just got up, and we willed her down to the NICU so that she could see him. Yeah. Like, we didn't have a name picked out.
Really?
Because,
because he came early.
We had a couple ideas, but we didn't have that picked out yet. So we wanted to see him. And so for the first like 12 hours, he was just baby Atkinson, and then and then a couple of hours later that night, we went back. She like walked down there.
Really?
And got to hold him, and then that's when we decided to name him Luca.
That's awesome. That was probably pretty special to be able to name him right there in the hospital.
It was really special. And then he was in the NICU for 38 days, and that was, once again, my wife, like, she was in summer break, and she just devoted. She was down there every single day. She'd make the drive down to Ogden. I would come down as much as I could, but obviously still trying to work and everything. But she went down every day, was there for him. Like, every morning we'd meet with the doctors, the team of doctors, and she was always there for that. Spent all day down there. We spent 4th of July down there. You know what I mean? Like all these big events, like Idaho days, 4th of July, things that we were planning on going to, and that she would have been pregnant and everything. but there wasn't any other place we were going to be, right?
Yeah.
And then the NICU nurse was like, you guys should go out and watch some fireworks tonight. Like, we'll take care of him here. You guys go out and get some fireworks. So we went out to like Kaysville and watched some fireworks. But, unforgettable. You know what I mean? Like, we'll remember all for the rest of our lives. And anyway, 38 days. And it was like the 37th day. Like, they were like, we're going to take his feeding tube out. And I think you'll be able to take him home tomorrow, And we were like, what? It was like all of a sudden, boom, you're going home.
Yeah.
And it was such an emotional roller coaster. At first it was like, okay, we're going to be here for a little bit.
Right.
Like they gave us the list of things that he had to accomplish or do. And then finally, he'd done that. And we were kind of like getting to the point. It's like, I think he's going to be able to come home. And we were feeding him out of a bottle. And then he would eat a lot, and then the next day he wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
And it was just like such an emotional roller coaster. And then finally they're like, I think you're going to take him. And we're like, like, we're not ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going from 4-year degree professionals, 8-year degree professionals to complete rookies at home of like keeping this baby alive. You know what I mean? And he's so little. He was born at 5 pounds. And when he left, he was like, I want to say like, gosh, I can't remember, like almost 7 pounds, like 6 pounds, 8 ounces. So just a tiny little guy, but
yeah, Dusty was 5 pounds, 3 ounces, I think. And he was in the NICU for 21 days. And it's just, it's like a different life down there. And
it is.
Chris stayed down there for a while, but we'd travel back and forth. Quite a bit to see him because they're like, there's nothing you can do here all day. Like, because he had to be in like an incubator and he had like jaundice. They had him under like the blue lights and stuff like that. But I'm like, I love this story because I'm right there with you.
I mean, and there's like terminology and things that like you as a NICU parent, you talk about that some parents just, they don't understand. You know what I mean? Just like gaining 40 grams is a huge win versus losing 20 grams, like, so yeah. And it's been so humbling to know how many other people have been in the NICU and they've have healthy, happy kids now. And it's like,
and we still know people from when Dusty was in the NICU. Like we still talk to people.
That's how we are too. And, to be completely honest, like, and I'm actually going to circle back to this right now. As some of the miracles that we saw, like, first off, just, the spirit and the motherly instinct that my wife followed to have those monitors on. Because if she would have just said, I'm not going to wear the monitors, there's no way that we would have known his heart rate dropped. And who knows what would have happened. So like, like I said, she felt something, motherly instinct, the spirit, whatever you want to believe, right? Like she felt that and followed it. And even the nurse like came in later and said, like, you deciding to wear those saved his life. And that was like huge for us. That was like miracle number one. And then just the other miracles of like some of the nurses, some of the other parents, some of the people that you meet, along the way, and people that bring your spirits up, and and where you can help others along the way. So it as scary and as crazy and as sucky at times it was, like everything went as good as it could have, and we've just felt so blessed through it all, and just so watched over during that whole entire time. Because, I mean, the 31 weeks, all the other 31-week babies were like 3 pounds. 2.5 pounds, 4 pounds. And he was 5 pounds. Like, and we have also thought, like, maybe she was further along than what we realized. And his lungs, he came out crying. Like, he never had to be on the ventilator or anything like that. So, So many different blessings through all that. And we look at it now of like, we're so grateful, you know what I mean, just to have him, because it could have gone, you never know, it could have gone the other way. So we just having experiences, that really test you, make you grateful for, what you have too,
100%. 100%. There's a really good team. Just going back to the NICU team, and the Life Flight team. And like, I have a whole different respect for all teams like that, the NICU team and the Life Flight and all that. And it was for parents out there that have had NICU babies, they understand it. It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
But it's been good. We've had him home for like a month now.
Yeah.
And, a little sleep deprived, but we're happy to be home. And
next week he'll be 5. And a week after that he'll be 18. And
it goes fast. Really fast.
So we're just really enjoying having him home. And he yawns and we're like, take a picture. It's the cutest thing in the world. And then, he like stretches all funny. And then he falls asleep like that. It's like, take a picture, and then you go back and look at pictures and you're like, it wasn't as cute as it was when it happened.
Did he have to ever do the owlet, like foot monitor thing?
So that was like when we decided, because we're so used to having this monitor telling us exactly what it was. We decided we have to buy an outlet.
Yeah.
Because at first we're like, I think it might just stress us out.
Yeah.
And then once we were in the situation, we're like, no, this is going to bring a lot of peace.
Yeah.
So he wears an outlet every night. And
the reason Dusty was in the NICU is because he had a pneumothorax and they couldn't get it taken care of. So, anyways, his oxygen stuff was the issue, his lungs and pneumothorax and all that. And so...
Isn't that so scary?
Oh, dude.
Just breathing is so essential.
Yeah. And so, freaking the night we left, they're like, hey, in order for you guys to take him home, you have to sleep here tonight. They put us in this little closet room, no windows in there or nothing. And it's just this tiny little room. And they're like, you got to know the monitors and then you got to prove to us that you can do this type of deal. And so, anyways, that I'm glad I don't have to deal with that outlet sound because we took him home and he'd rub his foot and that outlet or that monitor would slide off and that thing would start beeping and I'd freaking fly out of bed and flip all the lights on and
you're
he's over
shaking
there.
your baby where you
he's just over there peacefully sleeping and the monitor just slipped off of his foot. But
yeah, but it also every now and again I'll just get on and just check. All right, we're good. I can go back to bed. So
but that's awesome.
So
no, that's really cool.
So we're like I said, we're grateful for where we're at, and I always think just the way that my wife handled the situation is amazing.
Yeah.
So
these women, man, they're tough as can be.
A lot tougher than we are.
For sure.
I thought it was funny when you said, the night she woke up with the pain in her stomach and she's like, I'll just take a bath. That is my wife's go-to 24/7. I'm just going to take a bath. I just need to take a bath.
Literally contracting every 2 minutes.
Just a hot bath.
And she's like, I'll just take a bath. We're not doing this home birth thing, So I was actually I've kind of wondered, obviously you and Crystalline had a miscarriage for your first one as well. What was your experience through that, miscarriage and then getting pregnant and then the emotions of that?
Yeah. So, Stetson, it wasn't I don't know if I'd qualify as a miscarriage, but we were in the 20-week appointment. I'll never forget it, but went in the doctor, normal checkup. We were going to find out, all the stuff. And the doctor goes over with a monitor on his belly, or on my wife's belly. And he looks at both of us and he says, uh-oh. And me and Chris are like,
it's the worst thing you can say in that position.
The first thing you say is, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And,
you better be joking.
But, so there was no fluid around Stetson in the womb. And so what that meant is they need amniotic fluid for the lungs to develop and stuff like that. So anyways, it was a few weeks after that, we started going to specialists trying to figure out what's going on and what the issue is. And they'd use terms if there's no amniotic fluid, baby can't survive and this and that. So we're worst case scenario. And it ended up being worst case scenario, but But yeah, so the issue was his kidneys were like oversized and they had a bunch of cysts on them. Like they were like way big for his body, but they weren't functioning. So he couldn't urinate to create amniotic fluid, and amniotic fluid develops the lungs. And so we went through like 4 or 5 weeks of tests and trying to see what we could do. And ultimately it came down to the decision of like, see how long he makes it. He's not going to make it at the end, but you can go as long as you can, and put Chris at risk and put the baby at risk and this and that, or induce labor. So we induced labor at 24 weeks, and he came out, and it was a pretty short labor, and we were able to hold him. Like he actually came out for about 10 minutes, and then he peacefully passed away. And it was rough, man. Like I'm already an emotional guy. Like everybody knows that I cry over everything, but watching my wife go through that was just like, it was tough, because that's the only thing my wife's ever wanted, ever since we first got married, was to have a baby and grow a family. And she came from a family of 6. And so like kids are like number one priority for her. So it sucked. And, we were blessed to be able to, hold him. And there's a lot
spend some time with
him. There's a lot of parents out there that don't get that opportunity. And so, we were blessed to be able to hold him and stuff like that. And then we buried him here in Franklin, or in Preston over here. And
so, I mean, I'm a funeral director. So I always ask people, like I ask the people, like, how did they look? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how was the funeral experience? So tell me a lot, like, about your funeral experience, what you guys chose to do. Like I help parents through this
so
all the time.
Nobody's ever asked that.
And tell me like what was good and what maybe you were looking for that maybe you didn't get.
Well, honestly, like, being honest about it, right after I was angry and I was frustrated and I was pissed off and going through all the emotions. And so, in my mind, I'd made up the decision to leave his casket closed. We did a viewing, family meeting, and
not public,
like
but just kind of your close friends and family, like anyone, invite only, right? They could come in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was all extended family and friends too and stuff. But I had decided, closed casket. I wouldn't say I was embarrassed, but like he just like wasn't all the way developed, and like I almost just didn't want people to see him that way.
Makes sense.
And Chris and I were going through it, so we got to the viewing late. Like we weren't the first ones there. So her family had actually beat us there. And when we got there, her dad had taken the lid off the casket.
Oh boy.
And I was like
fuming.
Like I was way mad. But ultimately I'm really glad he did, that I'm glad that all of our nieces and nephews were able to see him, and my parents were able to see him, and Chris and I, and after that, I kind of like, during that moment, I kind of changed my thought process of, he's beautiful. Like I want people to see him.
Yeah.
I don't like that you made me talk about this because, but yeah, I don't know. Like he's just, like he was perfect,
Right.
But it was a good experience. Like, Jordan Webb, he was amazing. And he's still to this day, he sees my face and he's just, oh yeah, dude, how you doing? But no, it was a great funeral. I don't know if I have anything bad to say about it.
Right.
They take
and maybe not bad.
No, not bad.
But I just mean like, obviously hindsight, you have, this is what, 6 years ago now?
Yeah, he would have been 6. Yeah.
So 6 years later, like really the question was like, do you wish you would have done things different, or are you happy with how it all went? I
think I'm pretty happy with how it went.
That's good. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. I think it was really good. And it was hard because it was during COVID too. So he passed away in 2020, October of 2020.
Okay.
And so I think that's another reason we didn't have like a ton of people there. I even had like a couple aunts and uncles that are like, we want to be there, but we think we might have COVID. And it's just like
crappy time.
If I could change that, I would, that everybody had to wear masks and
Do you find yourself going to the cemetery? Is that somewhere where you feel good, or is it kind of one of those places where it's like, I don't care to go there?
I don't go there as often as I want to. The times that I find myself there are like days where I get home and like this sounds bad, but I'm being fully transparent. Like
Right.
I'll disappear from the house. Like Chris will have no idea where I went.
Yeah.
And I'll just disappear in the dark and I'll go sit by his grave.
Yeah.
And it's not like super often I do that, but just like when
you need it.
Yeah. I just feel like I need him.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or I've like lost it. I don't know. So I'll just go sit there. But we actually haven't been there in a little bit, a few months or so. But I'd probably need to go there more. But
see, but I don't know if you need to go there more.
That's what Chris says.
I just think that people find peace in that, and some people I don't need to go there to feel him. Like we can be in the living room as a family, and that's like we're all together in spirit, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's what Chris says too, because there's been times like on Memorial Day, like we choose to take Dusty and go camping as a family instead, and I'm like, like we really should stay home and go sit by his grave all day,
right? But it's like,
but she's like, he's not like there. He's not at
body,
the grave.
right?
That's his body, and so then I gotta think about that, and some people might not like it, but like I've put his own little gravestone on myself here, so like that's I got.
Oh, that's what's on the headstone.
No, that's just his name and like little cowboy boots, and little wings, and cowboy hat there.
Okay. See, and like that's the thing is like that's the way you feel him.
Yeah,
like not going to the cemetery, but looking at your arm or like
and I have
touching your arm.
Yeah, and I have like and I'm just that way. But like I have little Stetson stickers that I had printed out. I put them on all of our cars, and I had one on my camper and stuff like that. But but it was a good experience. I mean, emotions were high, and I still don't think my emotions are right on the whole deal. And and then having Dusty, it's like going into getting pregnant again. We were kind of on a high of like we lost Stetson. We didn't wait too long. We got Dusty. And then, we went through with Dusty and found out Chris has kidney problems, and Dusty was life flighted, and he came a month early, and we dealt with the NICU. And that was 5 years ago. And Chris every day is like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. And we've been on hold from the doctor for 5 years now. And the doctor still hasn't given us that like full clear.
Right.
But she's like, I'm ready. And I'm like, I'm not.
I don't want to go through all that again.
Yeah, like you're tough. Like you're tough. You can block that stuff out and you can do it. But me watching you go through that, because what Chris has kidney problems, and so on Dusty's pregnancy, she swelled just way like she just could not retain any more water. She couldn't walk, and she would cry, and it's just like I can't watch you do that.
You can't do anything to help.
Right.
Like you obviously would if you could.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, and like I mean, we are very fresh off of the whole NICU experience, and so we're definitely not ready. Like that's like our biggest fear right now is just getting pregnant, and you know what I mean right now. And my wife always says, you're going to have to put me through some counseling before we decide to have another kid, because that was very emotional for me, which it really is. Like, and I think with time, I don't know, this is what everyone tells us. You forget a little bit, like the strong feelings, and then you see Dusty and you're like, oh, love to have another one. You know what I mean?
Well, and honestly, like, and I think it's okay for people. And I mean, but like it's okay to have one kid. I mean, I know it's everybody's desire to have multiple kids and have a big family, but in my situation, I'd much rather have my wife and my son than 2 kids and no wife.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
well, and like my wife always said, she's like, we might have an only child, just because it's so scary going through that, and really, there's nothing wrong with it.
I agree 100%. 100%. Did you know? Cody, I can't get the guy to get emotional, but you and your wife went through a miscarriage too.
About 8 weeks.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so like, I don't know. For me, it was hard because it was like, maybe not hard, but it was like, there's nothing. There's not much there. Obviously, it's not nothing, but it's not like a 20-week where it's like, you can see where the fingers are.
Yeah, at 8 weeks. Me and my wife knew.
It's like kind of a clump of cells still forming, right? After
the miscarriage, then we told people. And then we went down the whole path of doctors and all that and found out that it wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
And it could have been, but I could have left the hospital with no kid and no wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then it's like, I pumped the brakes down. I'm like, nope, it's not happening that way. We got to look at another avenue, and adoption's the way we went. But Trey was in the NICU. He was born about a month early. So yeah, we went through that whole NICU process too. We just did ours in Arizona completely by ourselves.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine, honestly.
Yeah.
Like just the amount of support that we received from family and people, but then to be
we're in
miles away and
I mean, we knew about it. We were picked to adopt him and everything. We told our parents at Christmas on January 6th. They called and said, hey, you probably ought to come to Arizona. He's being born today. My wife was at work. I had just had my gallbladder out. I was plowing snow. She called and said, hey, pack a bag. I'm in Logan. Come down here.
We're going.
So we heard and called the doctor. He got me in. It's like, yeah, you're probably good to fly. Plus, you're going to a hospital. So if something happens, all you have to do is make them Salt Lake to Arizona. So, but then we got down there and he was born on January 7th.
Okay. And didn't you say, I think I've heard you say that there's a period where the birth mom can change her mind.
Yeah. And every state's different. Arizona happened to be 72 hours.
Oh, okay.
But his birth mother had some issues, drug related and stuff. So either child services was taking him or we were taking him. Like
we all know the right answer there.
She went into it knowing that she wasn't leaving that hospital with him.
Okay.
I think it was January 8th that child services came in and we're sitting in the room with her and Trey's over in the corner in the little like lighted bassinet thing. And they're like, oh, we just got a bunch of questions to ask you. And they started kind of going down that list. And she's like, well, you should ask them. They're adopting this kid. And the lady kind of looked at us and she grabbed me and we stepped out in the hallway and she's like, you're going through I said, yeah, here's our lawyers, this, and this. She's like, oh, sign here and you'll never hear from us again. Just sign the papers and away she went.
Can't sign that fast enough.
Yeah. So as soon as that happened, we knew like for sure he was coming home. And then we just had to wait for the doctors to release him and come home.
And then the happiness of, did you bring him home on a plane?
My wife did.
So
she stayed down there for
like not even a month and he's on a plane.
She came home with him at like 20 days old.
Okay.
I had to come back. Like we weren't expecting, we thought we still had 3 more weeks.
Right.
And I had to come back. I had to get back to work. I had to buy all this,
Oh yeah.
kind of one of those, like we knew it could possibly pull from us type of thing.
Yeah.
So
like that's kind of how we were. Like we were not ready at all. Like he came early to where it's like, you got to get you got to get the nursery ready. You got to buy this. You got to buy that. And so like we're frantic. I kind of understand that a little bit.
So I'm not a very emotional guy, but I'll tell you, the day I left them at the hospital to fly home by myself, I was a wreck.
Yeah,
like that's hard. Luckily, her mom had came down the day before. She had family down in Phoenix. They stayed for about 20, 21 days. I left after 7. Like once he got released from the hospital, I came back home. But they told us he was supposed to be born on the 24th, 25th of January. But I go, he'll be here at least till that date and possibly after.
Yeah.
He kicked that place in 7 days. I don't know how.
He said, I am out of here.
But he was ready to go. And he was born at 5.5 pounds. He dropped down to 4.5.
Okay.
So we left the hospital with a little 4.5 pound. He's just a little fella.
Oh my gosh.
Like I still have the picture of my hand on him and there's barely any of him sticking out on either hand. But
yeah,
that's the last great big beard I had.
And just the emotions of it all are crazy for sure.
Yeah, but he was doing well enough. Like we got stuck in a room about this size. It was our little apartment and he stayed with us every night.
And looking back, I'm sure you're like, those were some of the best days of our life. You know what I mean? Like, even though you're like in the thick of it, and you're like, man, like sometimes you would just love to go back to that time. And sometimes I'm finding that myself. It's like you find like the beautiful moments in these incredibly hard times where it's like, and then you think, oh man, we did it. We made it. We made it through that. Like, I don't know.
It's amazing how many people go through that, whether it's miscarriages or NICU experiences or, like it's far too common these days, but it's in some sense or another, it's good that, to hear that people that go through those experiences to
You're not alone.
Yeah, it allows them to reach out. Like we've had people reach out to us about the whole adoption process.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'd like more than to help somebody go through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's people all over the place that struggle and have those issues. And
so I do have a question for you. What was the process like accepting the fact that you guys couldn't have kids? Because that's a kick in the shorts.
It is.
This guy's gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah, he is. It was hard, but I knew there was a reason. I guess is the easiest way to put it.
Yeah. Like, do you think deep down you kind of knew and like you were kind of preparing yourself?
Yeah, like I came to terms with it faster than my wife, obviously. I mean, I had a twin brother and a sister. It wasn't a big family. I didn't ever want a big family. I think she did and does.
Yeah.
But I look at it, and especially now knowing who knows where Trey would have ended up. Like not knocking foster care or anything like that. But
no, not at all.
You just don't know.
You can control you control a situation. You put
I feel like we brought him into a good spot.
Yeah.
Who knows where he would have ended up. And maybe that's the reason we ultimately are together and had to go through the adoption process to give him a chance.
Yeah. I love that because I'm a huge believer on everything happens for a reason. Like there's no chance. Like everything is designed. Like I'm a big believer that like each of us, like God has a plan for each and every one of us. And like, I love that you like, because I hadn't even thought about that, but like you guys had to go through this because if you would have had kids, you would have
never would have adopted.
You would have never had Trey.
And who knows where he would
and you two were like saving Trey's life in a sense, right? So
yeah, because he could have
that's awesome.
He could have got put in a horrible spot.
Being in Phoenix, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows what he would have got put into, and you find the bad when you go through the adoption process and stuff like that. Like we had one that it was a younger gal, still in high school, reached out, wanted us to adopt her baby. She's like, I don't need much. I don't want lawyers involved. I don't want all this other stuff. $100,000 and the kid's yours. And like that threw up some red flags pretty heavily. Like there are people out there that will do that. I mean, it's horrible to say, but they're living off of being able to have kids. The pregnancy's not hard for them. They'll put them up for adoption, collect a paycheck, and then.
Well, and in today's world, the wrong people will do that, and then they put the bait like they're.
The church kind of pulled out of the adoption side, and unfortunately for us, it was right before we started.
Yeah,
but that's why. Like, I'm sure that's part of the reason why there are people out there that. I mean, there's good and bad in the world, but there's some that take advantage of that system. And
unfortunately, the good part of the foster care doesn't get as
you don't see
highlighted as much as the bad. You always hear the bad situations.
But I knew, like, we looked at foster care, and I was an automatic no.
Yeah,
because I mean, you think about it. You've had your son for a month now, and in foster care, sometimes you're just the glorified babysitter. And then mom and dad get off drugs or whatever, and the court's like, oh, the kid needs to be with family. For that to happen to us, it would be hard for me. It would kill my wife.
Rip your heart right now.
Yeah. And you never know what situation that child's going back into.
So
like I wanted to be, if we're going to do it, it's going to be final. It's going to be, he's ours or she's ours or whatever.
Yeah. Another question is everyone always says like adoption is so expensive.
It's very expensive.
Like that was shocking when you said, give me $100,000 and he's yours. Like, is that, I mean, obviously I don't need personal details, but on average, how much are parents or how much are couples paying?
And back when we were in it, between lawyer fee, and it depends on what state you're in, like Arizona was 72 hours. I believe it's New York that it's 60 days.
Oof.
That child can't leave the state for 60 days. So for, somebody out here to adopt a kid in New York, you have to go out there, you have to pay lawyer fees, you have to essentially rent a hotel or an Airbnb for 60 days before you can come home.
And then day 59, mom wants it back.
Yeah, 59, mom wants it back. And it's like, well, you still got to pay the lawyer fees. You still got to pay all these other things because they were doing the work.
Airbnbs still want to collect their pay.
Like they still, they're like, that sucks. Sorry, we'll give you a free day, but like,
we'll give you that 60th day free and a little breakfast.
So yeah, it sucks that it's so expensive. Like we were in a spot, we were young.
Yeah.
We'd happen to have bought a house and were able to do some things that way that we were able to afford it. But so it's expensive. Nowadays, I'd dare bet you're between 50 and 100,000 just to.
That's insane.
Yeah, Chris and I have looked into it, and it's that
kind of
like your start line's like 50.
Just plan on 50.
And then like you just had a kid, you went to NICU, you have all that, but your insurance is going to cover that.
Right.
Adoption insurance won't step in.
Yeah, I mean, we always say he's $1 million baby, right? Like just
That's
because
of about the
insane amount
stuff.
of, but yeah, it is covered.
But you pay your insurance deductible or whatever. Adoption is like, no, you're
covering it all.
You got to get it all.
They just say you don't need this baby. You know what I mean?
And every state's different. In Arizona, they look at their Medicaid like monthly. So Trey was born at the first of the month. So as long as he left the hospital before February 1st, the state of Arizona was going to cover that tab because he was in the NICU and all that.
Yeah.
So we lucked out in a few different aspects.
Right.
Otherwise, the hospital comes to us with $1 million bill and says, hey, yeah, you adopted a kid.
What kind of payment plan do you want to do?
How do you want to set this up?
Lifetime.
And $50 a month will do it for the next 75 years.
Like the cards played out great for us, but I know there's people out there that it doesn't. And unfortunately, adoption's expensive. I mean, every time our lawyer would send an email to the state of Arizona, it's like, hey, here's another $1,000 for an email that he sent.
Yeah. You're like, you know what, just send it over, I'll take care of it.
And then we had 2 home studies before we could even apply for adoption. And then we had so many afterwards. And
so what was the time frame from start to finish? Do you know?
We were close to 6 months. Like ours went pretty quick.
I was going to say that seemed a little faster than what I was.
Yeah. Like we picked an agency in Las Vegas and we had to make a bio and all this thing and send it. And she looked through and she picked us. And then we found out a week or 2 before Christmas. And keeping that secret from your family was, and everybody else. Like there were so many people that we made a Facebook page. There's so many people that shared that profile to help get your name and everything out there. But
do you know how many people were in the running? Like how many people was she deciding from?
So it's kind of like buying a car, I guess. It's like she said, I'm
kind of like Tinder, right?
Yeah,
or dating
I'm gonna
app.
put my kid up for adoption, and like they could say, I want a young couple that has no kids. Like they could kind of weed it down, but I don't know how many for sure was in the running.
Okay,
but I knew she kind of said she wanted a younger couple, wanted it to be their first child.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of them, but I mean I'd imagine being in Vegas and like they kind of covered the Western U.S., so there's probably people from all over, but. It worked out in our favor.
For sure. And for Trey's.
Yeah.
And for the moms. Another question for you. Are you still in contact with her? Do you ever imagine Trey getting to the point where he's like, I want to meet my mom? And how do you feel about that?
Unfortunately, she has passed.
Oh.
Still drug issues.
That is super sad.
Yep. But his grandmother, friends with them, talk to him through Facebook, send pictures. We want to take Trey down there. He knows. I mean, if you've seen him, we don't look exactly alike.
Yeah, he's cuter than you, that's for sure.
He's a little darker than me. But yeah, both of us have always said we're going to be 100% open and honest. We want him to know that how he got to us and everything like that. So we are planning a trip to Phoenix to meet his grandmother.
What about it?
And some sisters.
Is the dad in the picture at all?
No.
Probably don't. No,
they thought he had moved back to Michigan, like Detroit area. So before the adoption, for him to sign his rights away officially, we had to put a posting in the newspaper in Michigan. But they said he has X amount of time to say something, and then his rights are gone.
Do you anticipate Trey one day doing like
the movie type stuff where he hunts his dad down?
Where he does like the DNA test looking and tries to find him. Do you think? Know. And if obviously he's 10, or not even 10. He's 8 years old.
He's 7.
He's. I
mean, if he wants to, I will help him out fully.
Yeah.
Deep down, as a dad to him, I hope he never does.
Yeah.
But if that's what he wants to do, I'll do everything I can to help him.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of like the movie, he is my retirement plan, whatever he chooses to do. I don't care if he's going to be an athlete, a mortician, he's going to be a salesman. Like, hey, buddy, it's your turn to repay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready.
I think every parent has that goal of like, I hope my kids take care of me when I'm old. But
we all need like a Sawyer Hemsley, to go make this $1 billion company.
I just want him to like pick the right retirement home. If you're going to dump me in a home, make sure it's a good one.
Make sure their food is good.
At least mid-grade, I take care of me a little bit.
Yeah. But that's really cool though, that you're like, kind of getting him in with his family and everything too, because I think that's always going to be a part of him,
like he knew that Britt wasn't his birth mother.
Yeah.
He talked to her very rarely. I mean, when she passed, he was still pretty young. It's been, I think 2 years now that she passed, but like he knows he's got a half sister down in Arizona. He knows. He's like, I have a sister.
Yeah.
Like, we're not hiding anything from him.
Yeah. What, and I mean, I say this with this question with like as much like respect, but being in Preston, Idaho, like there's not a lot of other kids that are, dark like him. Right. So, has he had experiences or has he ever felt like different or anything like that?
I don't think he ever has.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it kind of helps. My sister's married to a Hispanic guy.
Yeah.
And their kids have darker skin. Like to me, Trey looks more, you take away his curly little afro, like from the eyebrows down.
He just looks like a tan.
He looks like and I don't mean this racist or anything, right? But he looks more Hispanic with his skin color.
Yeah.
He's not real dark. But
that's awesome.
He fits in with my nieces.
I'm glad because I always like think about that too. Just because school is hard.
Yeah. Kids are, no matter how well they're raised, kids are going to be kids.
Oh yeah.
Trey's going to be the soccer all-star of Preston, Idaho.
Don't say soccer. He's never had soccer. Like somebody bought him, and I'm sorry if you're listening, somebody bought him a little pack of like sports balls for Christmas. And there was a football, a soccer ball, and a basketball. He opened it. I went and took it. The soccer ball went to the trash. I was like, here, bud, you got 2 out of the 3. And nothing against soccer players. It's just in Idaho. It's in the fall during football.
You got to choose.
Yeah. I'm going to push him down the right path.
Unless he wants to play soccer and come be the kicker, that's about your only option,
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's smart. I always tell my wife, like, so for the past 4 years, I've coached football out at Mountain Crest with Ryan Visser, another Preston guy, and I've absolutely loved it. Like, coaching football is fun just because it's so strategic. You know what I mean? Like, defense is putting something out there, and as an offensive coach, how are we going to beat this? Or, what play is going to, put us in the best position? So I love that strategy portion. I love the emotions. I love the fall in the air, just all of it. But where's I going to this? I guess it was loving football too much. Gosh, we might have to end this.
And that's a
no, gosh, let me think.
Well, I'll jump in here on my football experience. I've been a long time.
Oh,
I could not tell you how many wins and losses we had every season, but I can tell you I've had 23 kids with a scholarship offer.
There you go.
Like, that's why I do it. It's for the kids.
Yeah.
Wins and losses, I want to win for sure. I hate losing more than anybody.
Right.
But if we go 0-9 and I get 4 college scholarships for a kid to possibly go play, that's a good season.
Well, and also to have a good time. I mean, I didn't win a lot of football games, but I sure had a heck of a great time out there. And like thinking back, it's been, some of those moments, those bus rides, the locker room, the on the field, like those are great memories for me. But I do remember where I was going with this. Along your lines of choosing, I always tell my wife, I say, I just have to keep coaching because we got to have Luca around. As a young kid, I want him around the football team. I want him around the basketball team. I just want sports to be like there. Because I am kind of a believer in kids ultimately choose, and sometimes sports are not in their cards. But there's a lot of cowboys that they grow up and they're 2 years old on a horse and they ultimately go that route. I think kids are what you put in front of them help a lot of what they do choose to do.
That's part of the reason I do all the fair stuff, because I didn't grow up doing fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had zero part of the fair from the day I was born to 18 years old. But I love it so much now that the past 3 years, Dusty's done Pee-wee. He's, at the end of a show, he takes 2 minutes and walks a little bucket calf around the arena. And that's my hopes, is that he'll want to be like Dad.
And I really do. I do think that he'll, every year, it's like, Dad, what are we going to get this year? And then I think you slowly build up to like the goat, to the pig, to the the sheep.
Pigs. No pig.
The sheep, to the, the steer, like, so I am a big believer in what you put in front of your kids is going to help them decide.
Well, and where I'm in it right now, and you'll get there, you're probably there too, is your kids see you doing something that you love and they want to be like Dad.
Yeah.
Because there's a small frame of window that Dad's the coolest person in the world. And I know that's probably going to start shifting out. Like there's going to be high school kids, or there's going to be the other kids Trey's going to look up to. But
yeah, for sure.
Right now, when I go to football, Trey wants to go to football. When I go to the fair, he wants to go to the fair. Until I sit in the tractor. Then he's bored. He can't sit that long.
When you go on a fire call, he wants to put
he wants to go.
The cop uniform on.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Fire guys are cooler than cops.
That's awesome.
He always wants to go to the fire station and look at the trucks. Like if I say I'm going on a call, he's like, "Oh, can I come?" And he just wants to see the trucks leave the station.
Yeah.
But
you brought up fair. We went up the past, couple nights. We didn't go all 4 nights, but like the turnout, like the amount of vendors you had there, like the Bolt Bonanza was practically sold out. Like we got there Saturday night and everyone just kept texting, if you want a ticket to the Bolt Bonanza, go get in line right now because they might sell out. Like what are your guys' thoughts
close
on the fair? Like, as far as success rate, be completely honest. Like, are we happy or?
Well, let me just point out it was Cody's first year as the fair board chairman, so our success rate was like pretty low. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No, it was Cody's first year as fair board chairman, but it was absolutely amazing. Not to cut short on what's happened in the past.
Right.
Wes Harris was an amazing fair board chairman.
For sure.
But Cody's jumped in with great ideas. He's done a good job. He cares as much as anybody else does. He does it all on his own. He's got a whole board behind him and we try and help, but Cody's the type of guy that he just, he wants to do it. He gets it done good. And
I understand. I'm a little, like at my job, I'm a little that way. It's
like,
I can ask for help, but then again, in the back of my mind, it's like, I can do it too.
But I've thought about it this week because I think some of you were a little upset that I didn't ask for help. But you think about it, you're there with Dusty and your wife. You need to enjoy the fair. Right? I know you're part of the board, but why have all of us struggle?
Yeah,
and fight through it when I can do it and let you guys enjoy the fair.
I know, but that's the thing is you have a boy and a wife too. But that's where I was going with that is like, it's a good attribute that Cody has that
you can admire it. For sure.
Yeah, I can admire it because he wants to do it on his own. He doesn't do it on his own because he doesn't feel like we're not there to help him. He does it on his own because he has a passion for it.
Well, and I think he knows that if he were to ask you, like you're going to say, all right, I'll go.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't ask you is because he has that confidence that, hey, if I'm really in need, I'm going to ask Cam and I'm going to have to take him away.
Yeah.
Because I know Cam's going to go.
Yeah.
So I think that.
But it was a great fair. We had more vendors this year. The county commissioners definitely helped us out this year and they did a lot of good things and Cody's been involved in that. But tearing those 3 Quonsets down, giving you all the grass for new vendors there.
To be honest,
animal barns.
I think people were a little nervous when those went down. They were like, this isn't right. Those are like, you know what I mean? But I do think that just having that space, like my wife, like this is so nice. And then you walk into the new building.
Events
and it's like, wow, this is really nice, And I think it also, like, it was advertising for that building because not a lot of people maybe have been there or had a chance to go there, but it was a great opportunity to go and see it firsthand.
Yeah. So. There was a lot of change this year. In a year or two, that'll be the new normal. But right now, there was a lot of change, and a lot of people struggle with change. I'm one that I hate change.
Preston, Idaho, baby.
But things are changing for the better, and we're still not done. There's more things we're doing. So there's going to be more change. We'll get it figured out. In 2 to 3 years, that's just the normal, and we're back to, the little old white barns and dying of heat inside the barns with all the canning supplies and everything. But
yeah. Well, and I like looking back, for me, I was never like I will be honest, I did show a sheep. Like, let's see. I was probably 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Frank. R.I.P. Frank. But no, that was like my only interaction with the fair growing up. And when I was a kid, it was like you go to the rodeo and then it was like, it's just the fair.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, not talking anything bad about the fair. It was just, that was our normal. Was like, oh, yep, we can go hang out again with our friends for a little bit, but let's just go back to the house and hang out,
Yeah.
So, but completely opposite this year. I feel like it was packed. Like there was
even with
great
the
vendors,
bad weather.
Yeah. And
see,
like the food was amazing.
I've been on the fair board now for 19 years, but I've been involved in the fair for almost 30 years, from when I first started showing till now.
Speaking of photos, I just saw a picture that I think their fellows posted.
And he looked so pissed.
Yeah, he did look. He was like,
I was locked in. That was the morning before the judging contest.
I wish my phone wasn't recording, because I'd show you the fair board pictures we took this year.
That is my smile.
This is Cody's smile.
Oh, I have plenty of football photos. I know exactly what you're talking about.
To be in my defense on that picture you brought up about the national judging contest, I'm pretty sure one of us was so nervous he may have thrown up in the parking lot before we walked into that building.
No, I love that picture. I thought like it was just cool to see like Mr. Crosley.
Yeah, and I think that is still hanging in his FFA classroom to this day.
And that blew me away, because the Cross I know, I've only known Cross for 5 years. So I've never seen dark-haired, younger-looking Cross.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a shell shock for me.
It's a great picture.
We were his first ever state title.
Wow.
Cool.
That in 2000, it would have been 2020 or 2006. Showing my age. His first ever. Right now I bet he's got 30 of them.
Yeah,
but we were his first.
It seems like they're always going to nationals, and because it's always a little different at the basketball games when he's not announcing, and you recognize it
that he's
at
gone.
The basketball games when he's gone. So I mean, his voice is just so iconic to Preston basketball that he can't ever retire. He can't die. Like that's Preston basketball,
If there was one teacher that made an impact on me, it was him.
Why? Well, what's the impact that you take?
Everything. The hard work, dedication. I mean, everything. I was just a dumb kid, but he pushed us. That year we won state. We didn't lose a single contest everywhere we went. And it was because of him pushing us. Went out to nationals, walked away, I think, in 11th place overall.
It's pretty awesome.
Like he pushed us hard.
Maybe showed the belief that you guys could do it, and pushed you to do it.
Because nobody from Preston had done it before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it helped the four of us. We grew up with cows. I mean, that is what it was. But
yeah.
We had all four of us, I believe, finished in the top 10 in the state of Idaho. But there was two of us that were second and third overall. And then we were able to go out to nationals and compete.
Where was nationals at?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
So they probably do it there all the time.
Yep, I think
it seems like that's where they're always
going back there. It's a pretty good spot.
Yeah. No, that's super awesome.
Yeah,
that
was a long time ago.
Because I mean, if you put that into perspective of like football or basketball, you win a state title, you're not going to some national tournament because it's just.
Yeah,
but for FFA kids, you go and you can become a national champion.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
And if we would have won, we would have got a free trip to Switzerland and judged in a world contest, but we didn't win.
It's all right.
I blame it on the fact that we were 4 teenage boys and we didn't have any cute girls to get, a few other placings.
Yeah. What about you, Cam? Like, is there a teacher or someone that's like...
I'm in the same boat. Not the same as you guys, though. I didn't do sports growing up. Like, I didn't do that. My mom wouldn't let me because she was afraid I was going to get hurt. So I did track for a minute, but hated
It's hard
school.
to get hurt there.
Yeah, right.
Pull a hammy or something.
Yeah. Then for some reason, I chose to do like the mile and the 800s.
Yeah, you could probably get hurt doing that.
But that's one for all parents. Like, a football injury is pretty minor. A kid that's not into sport or something, that's where you get into like the drunk driving injuries and different things. Like, sports injuries are pretty minor for the most part.
Yeah, but there wasn't, I hated math and science and English and all that crap, but it's something about those ag teachers that they leave an impact on you for the rest of your life.
It's a different class.
Yeah.
Like, you still had to learn math and all this, but then you get to do hands-on. You get to learn how to weld. You get to do these other things that...
And I'll tell you, I don't know what it is either that, like, I don't remember any of my math teachers or anything like that. I don't see them around. And my ag teacher, I see him at least once a week.
Yeah.
And he sees me and he knows exactly who I am and he shakes my hand and asks me how I'm doing. And so, I got deep into FFA myself, but we call him Doctor, but it's Dave Erickson and Clint Aston. I don't know if you guys know Clint. You probably went to school. No, you didn't. They went to West Side.
They went to West Side.
The Astons out in West Side, but Clint taught in Smithfield. And then Dave Erickson was from Richmond, taught in Smithfield, but both of them just were unreal. So
that's awesome. Yeah, we all need those people to help us through,
Yeah.
And it's crazy, too, to think that, like, 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid that doesn't know much, and then you have, like, this adult that just... Because, your parents are saying the same thing that their teachers are saying, but you tend to listen to someone else, sometimes.
Yeah, and I give all the credit to, like, my FFA classes and my ag classes because they're probably the reason that I graduated high school because... if I didn't have something to look forward to throughout the day, an ag class or a couple ag classes, I probably would have failed out and dropped out. So, I was looking forward. And then, going to competitions and when we traveled the state and stuff like that, you couldn't go unless your grades were good enough. So, gave you something else to strive for. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But old Britton over here, do the hostile takeover on the podcast.
Well, sorry about
flipping it back around on us a little bit.
I like it. We've never had that before.
No, I like it too. I mean, it's just a conversation just open, right?
Yeah. It's sweet.
But
anyway. Dude, Britton, we appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And you got vulnerable. You talked about your stories, told us about your work and your family and your life experiences. You brought some fun into it by asking questions. Not too many people ask Cody questions.
I'm an open book. I'll answer it. I tend to talk a lot more when it's a subject I like.
Yeah, you get a sports subject.
Sports or football or fair my kid. Yeah, I'll open up.
But. Just so everybody listening knows, I sat here for about 30 minutes before I hit record on that podcast listening to these two talk about sports. So,
yeah. I can talk about sports to anyone.
Yeah.
Especially and I really enjoy local sports too, just like following, because to be completely honest, like Southeast Idaho has done extremely well.
Yeah. Yep.
Cache Valley has done extremely well. There's a lot of really great athletes coming out of this area. So,
no, it's fun,
go support. They need it. Those kids work hard
for sure.
Football in Idaho starts this week.
Yeah.
Go support the local teams.
Home game. They only got 3. Preston only has 3 home games.
And this is one of 3 this Friday.
It's like one now.
It'll be the Monday after the game after when this podcast drops.
What are you predicting? Preston come out with the W or?
Nah, Logan will take it.
Logan?
I know nothing about sports. I'm just joking. But no.
They're just like they have one game here and then like right in the middle and then like their last game. So.
Yeah, spread out.
Very few this year for them.
Better go enjoy it.
Yeah.
Before it gets too cold.
Yeah. But Well, thanks again, Britton. We appreciate you coming out. Appreciate you bringing a new perspective to the podcast, and I loved hearing your story about, your baby and your wife, and it's cool hearing about what a mortician does, and this is it's just another episode that's just gonna sit with me.
And anybody listening that has those struggles with, when a death comes, Britton was able to do one of our family's funerals.
Yeah,
Britt's grandpa.
That's right.
He does an amazing job.
He's actually done one of mine too.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And your grandpa was so special because he would come in, because he lives right across the street from the funeral home that I work at. So he would come in and he would always say, "Now you're going to do my funeral one day. I've got a plan at another funeral, but as soon as I pass, I'm bringing it to you, and I'm a converted Chiefs fan because my in-laws love the Chiefs. My father-in-law's a diehard from when he was 17 through the hard days to the glory days. So I married in and have been converted. And so we were actually out. It was the first time my wife had ever been to a Chiefs game. So we're out in Kansas City, and I get a phone call and they say, "Hey, Alma Linhart passed away and they want you to be there." And I'm like, of course I'm gone. And it was pretty unexpected, kind of.
I mean, he'd been going downhill.
I guess it was unexpected for me because I didn't realize that he had, been on
health issues,
hospice care and everything. So then I'm like, oh, of course. But luckily their family weighed in. I was able to go and kind of work with them. And so that was really special because he was right there with you at every football game.
He was at every football game. He was at every basketball game.
From when we were in fifth grade.
He was your biggest fans.
And he was in a wheelchair, so he would, and he would always come over and say, "Good game,"
Yeah.
So
every year I coached football, I'd make sure I got 2 hats. One for me to go in the closet and one for him to wear at all the games.
Yeah. He was, that was a special one.
For sure.
And that is like one of the also cool things about my job is I get to help people during like one of the hardest times, and you really get to grow and kind of be there for the family. And like for this one, he was always there supporting us, and I could be there, to kind of help him. And so
that's cool.
But
well, I want to give a shout out this week to Tattles. They gave us a couple gift cards last week. We did a little giveaway at the fair. So give a shout out to Tattles there. Go down and eat Tattles. And I mean, I know I'm down there way too often.
Yeah, they took care of us after the cleanup of the fair.
Did you get swarmed?
Oh, yeah.
People jumping all over you to get it?
Oh, yeah.
That was a fun way you did that.
So we did it on Friday.
Yeah.
And I think, it was Friday at like 12:01. The first one caught me. I was still at the fairgrounds. They're like, "Hey, it's after midnight. You got that gift card on you?" I was like, "I don't. Cam still got them in his pocket."
Write your name.
We'll catch you in the morning.
Yeah. This is fun. We appreciate them donating a couple gift cards to the podcast.
Awesome.
That gave us the opportunity to do a fun giveaway. Britton, again, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And everybody listening, remember, everyone has a story.